going on, everyone? Sel here. Welcome to another update regarding Crucible League solo self-found softcore progress. It's been a few days since I posted a video about the Boneshatter Juggernaut. I have since rerolled into a Lightning Arrow character using Vengeant Cascade, so I guess to cover between last video and now, I did some Blight on the Juggernaut. Got some golden oils. I was originally thinking about going for a build using Leadership's Price. I have a handful of these, and a couple of them are positive res. I have another one that is also 4 positive, no negative. But I decided it was going to be way too much work to balance attributes, and I might end up going for Omniscience anyways. So, plus the fact that not being able to shock means you're losing a potentially big damage multiplier to try to gain another multiplier, which is kind of, a roundabout way of increasing your damage. You're losing some but gaining some elsewhere, so I felt like that wasn't worth it and decided against going that route. So using the same right now to fix stats. It's got pretty decent stuff on it. I mean, stats that I need: crit multi-life, and mana regen is nice as well. Or not mana regen, reduced mana cost. I'll get more into that in a second. I did find a Hyri's Ire like day 2 of the league. I was tempted to reroll back then, but I was enjoying the Boneshatter enough. If I knew how much I was going to like this character, I would have rerolled sooner. But, live and learn. The character I have been enjoying a lot. It's really fast. It is a glass cannon, which I didn't think I would like the playstyle of, but I have gotten past the threshold where stuff dies quickly enough that I don't really die much. Like, I am now level 96, same level as the Juggernaut. 21 deaths, if you can see that a little more clearly. The Juggernaut has 63, I believe, so literally a third of the deaths of the Juggernaut. At the same level, I'm just playing faster, playing better because I have to, and just generally, being quicker about things. Higher damage, single target is good with Vengeant Cascade. I'm doing a Legion farming strategy in Breach. It's a scour and go strategy, so I am doing white maps for the most part. If a map is rolled rare and is not like extremely rippy or has LE Reflect or something, then I just run it. Otherwise, I scour it down to white and magic maps. Most of the time I run those as magic. I'm not like completely scour and go, but I'm running easy maps is what I'm getting at. The XP an hour is still pretty good though. I don't have a ton of time played on this character. It's definitely much faster than the Juggernaut, just in terms of playstyle and the fact that I have better gear and such. So, Hyri's, notice I am still on a 5-link. So damage absolutely gets better from here. And added cold is not really an optimal support. I'm just using it because I'm too lazy to recolor the Hyri's Ire because I think I'm going to switch away from it. Problem with that is likely going to be balancing Trinity. Looks like my fire damage might be decent enough. My strength is a little low, otherwise I could run an Anger instead of Haste. I'm running Haste on Divine Blessing because of all this mana cost reduction going on. So I have 15% here. The stacks additively with the 34% from Inspiration, so that would be 49%. Then I have 25% on Flask. I think I have a little bit of Flask effect, so that's closer to 30%, which, let's call it 30%, takes us up to 79% mana cost reduction. And then, this happens before that cost reduction, unfortunately, but the Mastery for Life that gives skills cost 30%, skills cost life instead of 30% of mana cost. So it takes 30% of the base cost, shifts it over to life, and then the mana will scale down from there, and I'll demonstrate that by using the Flask. 186 life, 165 mana. Mana goes down significantly, and the life stays the same, but it's not a big deal. It's a tiny amount of life, and I don't necessarily need the Flask to be able to use it, but the Flask is up 100% of the time while mapping anyways, and it makes it a lot easier on the mana side of things, still have room to attack. Even if I don't, though, if you can't cast Lightning Arrow, for example, you're just going to do a basic attack. And because I have 4 extra projectiles without supports, I'm going to hit something with that. And those also return with Vengeant Cascade. So with the Instant Leech Mastery, that's basically life and mana gain on hit, plus the small note here, I'm going to go back to full mana basically immediately. Then in terms of like clear helping stuff, I decided to go with Pierce on my helmet and gloves. Didn't really have anything else good to put in the prefix slot. Figured this was going to be best. I was running like focus physical damage reduction for a little while, and I got a couple more levels, picked up a strength node, and slacketed in Immortal Call instead. I have this on left click instead of like cast when damage taken, so it has about a third uptime. I figured I'd rather have a third uptime on 20% less damage taken than on cast when damage taken, because the time I most need damage reduction is before I get hit, not after I get hit. Because if I get hit by a big physical attack, chances are I die. So cast when damage taken doesn't help me there. I do have a few sockets like left over that I could be using for other things, like this one, the gem's max level, I'm not using it for anything. Once I actually get a 6-link body armor or bow, then I'll probably shuffle things around a bit, get some more utility going. Also found a Maloney's Mechanism for the first time ever, so I guess for the remainder of the league I can level up 3 extra gems, which is pretty nice. Rest of the year is pretty basic. Suppression, life, stats I need, res, etc. And then the bow is pretty standout. Boots are kind of horrible. I've been looking for an upgrade, ideating boots and whatnot. Rings could be improved. This one's pretty solid. I did just find a tier 1 max rolled chaos res fracture on a ring, so that's pretty sweet. Might do something with that, although this one's kind of similar. It's tier 1 life fracture with 29 chaos res, so essence crafted for crit multi. Quivers. Oh right, I guess my general Atlas strategy. Told you I've been running Legion, so I've been doing a bit of that. Still doing Exarch altars for invitations and Omnichance, plus mapping currency, so I'm building up sextants, chisels, and chaos at the moment through that primarily. And Quiver is really nice for that. Could have put like more damage here, but I actually had no idea this was a craftable mod. Moving while bleeding doesn't cause you to take extra damage, and that's what this Pantheon passive does. Not entirely, obviously it's better with the 25% damage reduction. And then I have a Corrupted Blood Jewel somewhere here. Nope, that one. Corrupted Blood cannot be inflicted on you. Another 5% mana cost reduction. Another 5% there. 3% there. And this one does not have any. Yeah, so all that facilitating haste pretty much. I don't know if that's actually worth it. I think the other stats might be better at this point, because basically everywhere I have the mana cost reduction is like, 2% attack, cast, and movement speed or something like that, so probably worthwhile to put those points elsewhere, and I will probably do so, but I thought it was worth experimenting with, and definitely more worth it in a build where you're using like Hatred or something on Divine Blessing, or something that gives you on the order of 20-25% more damage. And like I said, I could end up dropping some of those sources if I get some better jewels or such, or want to put those passives elsewhere. Then I can drop some of those and still have the means of casting this, because again, this flask is worth like 5 or 6 of these mods. So with the flask alone is enough without the extra crafts. And then finally, the bow is pretty solid. It's like 1080 effective DPS. If you run the numbers right now, just looking at it, it looks to be higher, but then it's got the 15% less global damage multiplier there, so accounting for that 15% less, it's about 1080 EDPS. The tree looked vastly different before. I had, in this one, flat lightning damage, like 6 to 94. This one was 6% or 7% attack speed, and the rest were useless. I merged another one with these 3 stats allocated onto this one. I was hoping to pick up this one and keep the first node, but this one came over as well. It was a slight upgrade. The last bow was like 1050 EDPS, so I was hoping to get the flat lightning scaled up by this, which of course didn't happen. That would have made a significant difference. The bow would be like closer to 1200 EDPS instead of 1080, but I think this bow might be the one I end up sticking with, honestly, so yeah, no complaints there. And to wrap it up here, just a showcase of how the build does against Crucible and, general mapping and such. Probably should have done this sooner in the video, but I went in ramble mode, as I always do. So, yeah, I'm pretty satisfied, especially, again, given the fact that I'm on a 5-link. The Hyries added cold damage does help quite a bit. So, that makes up for the lack of 6-linking a little bit, but the just clear coverage is amazing. I don't know if I've ever played a faster clearing character than this. Even, like, I played a pretty decent Spark character last league. Was nowhere near this snappy. I feel like the damage was not as there. It was a self-chill Spark character. Tons of projectile speed and all that, and just didn't feel nearly as good. I think my bow is a big contributor to that. Being able to scale weapon damage as high as you want to is a really good means of allowing your character to be more powerful. So here's a Legion example. I am running the node to make Legions easier. Stasis monsters take more damage and the stasis phase lasts longer, but I'd rather get the extra value even if it takes me a little bit longer on a per Legion level. Beach is kind of weird. Sometimes there will be Legion stasis mobs inside the boss room, so you have to peek in the boss room. There might have even been some I missed in this Legion, but it's a lot more noticeable when a boss spawns in there. And they're all very close to the wall because that's the outer edge of the Legion. Yeah, about where the boss spawns, really. But yeah, I may make a video on this strategy in particular. It's similar to boss rushing in that, scour and go type stuff, except I wanted to be able to still get some of the on-map completion type stuff. So I'm spec'd into the Guardian and Conqueror map chance nodes, and those are notables, so they don't work with Wandering Path, which is the more typical boss rush strategy. And your chance to get free crafts on the map device and the special crafts like Monstrous Treasure, for example, those are also notables shaping the mountains and valleys, I believe. So I wanted to have a chance at those as well, even though they're 10 and 3% respectively. I want as many chances as I can to get Monstrous Treasure because I'm ultimately going for a Mageblood farm this league, probably on this character. So I'm doing preparation for that, essentially. Anything I do is going to be working towards that goal. So, farm out some apothecaries, and a good way to do so is via the Strongbox Sextant. So, if you can stack some Monstrous Treasure crafts, I have 3 already. For reference, the entirety of last league, I got a total of 5. I got 2 Monstrous Treasure crafts on, I think, the second day when I first started mapping, and that is obscenely lucky. I've had 1 since then. They are really rare. I think it's the rarest random outcome of that node, but whatever chance I get, again, to increase the odds at getting Apothecary cards, I am absolutely going to take. So I wanted to test out like the sustain on a non-wandering path strategy. So I may make a video on that, but spoiler alert, it's pretty good, and I've been liking it a lot. Anyways, that'll wrap it up for here. Been enjoying the bow character a lot. I would highly recommend trying it out. Vengeant Cascade is very solid, pretty easy to get, even until self-found, a couple of golden oils. And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you enjoyed the video or want to see more like this, feel free to give it a like, comment, and subscribe to see more, and I'll catch you later. Peace.